Hey guys, this is Christine Chen, and I am doing the podcast Get Reelisms alone today because my co-host Adam Chase Rainey got a gig. So, as you know, people in this industry are always chasing the next job, and so yes, it's good that he's working. So, for once, it's not me, but I'm here with my very good friend Marsha. Marsha is an incredible producer, and I really wanted to have her on the podcast because her journey in film is very different from what traditionally you would think with film. So before we start, let me have Marsha, our special guest, introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Marsha Skinner. I live in Southlake, Texas. We met how many years ago? 3? 4?
Was it 3? Was it 4?
4?
2019, maybe?
It was pre-COVID.
So it was 2019.
Yeah.
So
it was right before. Yeah. It
so
was
4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm retired and got into film when I met Christine 4 years ago. And now I just do passion projects mainly with Christine. She's teaching me a lot. I'm learning a lot about production. I'm learning a lot about cinematography, which is great. I love it. And now editing, which is a lot of fun and very difficult. Yeah. But I just kind of roll about my days and figure out what I'm going to do. And then I get really honed in with her, especially because she works so hard and makes some magic happen. It's been a lot of fun.
So my first question would be, how did you decide that you were interested in film? So you said that you met someone in Los Angeles, or how'd that go?
Yeah, story because I was in LA with my daughter just on a shopping trip. We were at the Beverly Hills Hilton, and she was getting ready for dinner, and I went outside to have a glass of wine. They've got a really great pool area there. And I noticed a lot of activity that week, going on, like a lot of famous people. Something was up, and It was LA Fashion Week. I did not know, by the way. But there was a group of women off to the side, and I was sitting there alone, and one of them invited me to join them. And I was like, sure, and so there were 5 or 6 of them, and I got to know one of them, who then grabbed me and my daughter and took us to LA Fashion Week.
Oh, yay.
And we sat up front at the very front row at LA Fashion Week, which right next to a Prince.
Crazy.
It was crazy. Yeah. And being who I am, I'm like... I remember saying, I don't know who you are, but damn, you look amazing. He had raw jewels on him. It was incredible. Wow. And we became friends, but she was in the movie business. So she said, if I ever do something in Texas, I'm going to call you. And about 3 years later, she called me, and they were doing a film in Bryan, Texas. And so I jumped on and read the script and decided to go meet with them down there. And kind of, I had no clue about what was any of it. I was an investor on the film eventually, but I did do a lot of the set design on the film as well. And when I met Christine, I was like, okay, she's a badass boss. So I had a lot to learn, and I learned a lot on that. So that's how I got started.
I have a funny story about the story of how we met. So I'll continue on with that story. So I think filmmaking is all about stories, and there's stories of what happens on set. There's stories of the journey in the film industry of getting to where you want to be. And there's the story of like getting into the industry and all sorts of stuff. So with Marsha, it was funny because me and my second AD, Carly, we are in charge of sending out the call sheet, which is basically this 1 pager, 2 pages is front and back of everything you need to know that will go on set. It's called a call sheet. And Carly gave me a heads up, and she said, hey, our production designer, Marsha, keeps asking me questions about this call sheet. They are suspicious because if she's the production designer for this feature, shouldn't she know this stuff about a call sheet? And I was like, uh-oh, this is not a good sign. And so, I get on set and meet Marsha, and Marsha's dressed to the nines. She looks amazing. She's in like designer, everything. And I'm like, who the F is this lady? But she was so nice and kind. And honestly, pretty much did a great job on set. Like everything that I asked, she would do it. And then I don't know if it was right after this set or like several years after this set when you revealed that you actually knew nothing about film, and that was the first time you were ever on set.
Yeah, I want to note something on that. So I just want to noted that when I was talking to the producer and another person about investing in the movie and what it was going to look like and all that, and they were like, "Hey, you're a designer," because I do like interior design, some not professionally, and they were like, "Hey, you should help us with set design. It's a Christmas movie." I was like, "Oh, that's great." I didn't realize that I was going to be leading it, and no one really told me that. So then when I got there and they announced it in the meeting, I'm like, whoa, 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 what? And I remember telling Carly, I'm like, I was getting those emails for the call sheet, and I'm like, what's a call sheet? And why isn't anybody telling me where I should be and when I should be there? And I wasn't getting any information until I started talking to you. And I was just hustling, trying to get done what I was being told to get done. I had no clue the brevity of the job. Plus, I was an investor. So it was kind of weird that I was an investor and then I was busting my ass on set in a position that I really shouldn't have been in because I had no idea what I was doing. But I learned a lot.
Yes.
Really fast.
Trial by fire and baptism by fire, trial by fire. And Marsha succeeded. So, I mean, she did a good job fooling me as to that she knew her stuff. I was like, all right, but things are getting set and production design looks pretty good. So we're good. Yeah. So I never questioned it once. And I think it was many years later where she was like, yeah, first set ever. Didn't even know what that was. And to me, it's funny because that's kind of also how I started as an assistant director. Yeah. But the difference is I had been in the film industry before. And the only difference is I didn't know what the specific position of first AD meant. Right. You had never been on a film set. Ever. That was
I was running a psychiatry practice. I was running a psychiatry practice at the time. I just wanted to be part of something else, and it changed me.
Yeah.
Changed who I am. And it's kept me in the industry. I love it. I love being in this industry. Yeah. It's so fulfilling.
What is it about the industry that fulfills you?
I think the people. The stories, the people that you get to meet. I mean, like Christine and I are so tight now and such good friends. And now we're doing really passion-driven work that's really married to the psychiatry practice of what I did. So it's beautiful that those two worlds have come together in such a beautiful way. And the creativity of it, is very creative environment. And I just love. But it's also a lot of hard work. So, it's like very tactile as well. It's just, I don't know. It fills me up. When I'm on set, I get filled up. Or if we're with people that we want to tell their story, it lifts my spirit and it makes me feel like I'm doing something important.
You are. And I guess the way you would put it is like, it makes you feel alive. That's the part I think about.
Totally alive again. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's same thing. I've heard that from many filmmakers on this podcast, that the big thing about being able to create is it makes us feel alive. And I feel like the experience with people who on their first set, it's always that they're tired, their bodies hurt after the first or second day on set because their body is like in shock as to the physicality of being on set.
I lost 9 pounds in 6 days. I was like, damn, if I'd known this. I was too busy to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and then you don't get much sleep and everything. And then you're on your off day, you're like, why am I doing this? There's always that day where you question it. And then you get maybe another off day and you're like, when's the next day going to start? And you realize that you've become addicted to the feeling of feeling alive on set. So yeah, it's very similar experience to a lot of people who their first day on set. That was kind of mine, but mine was very early, walking onto a set and not understanding anything and being like, wow, look at that. Wow, look at that. What's that little spitty thing? What's that? What's that? And then that was my light bulb moment. Was I think now almost 15 years, probably more than that. It was 2000 and it was before business school. So before 2008 was when that happened. I walked onto a 48-hour film project and fell in love and just had that bing light bulb moment. Yeah. Did you ever have a light bulb moment of like, dude, I want to do this more?
I did. But remember, I'm older than you, a lot older than you.
What?
And um and I just retired in April of last year. So I wasn't wanting to make a career out of it per se, but it filled me up so much. Just the synergy of it, and I realized later in production that my business acumen was so good in this industry. So I could actually start marrying some things together. Right. So it almost felt prepared. The film set, I'm telling you, I've never been so exhausted in my life. But like after we finished and wrapped and I came back, I have kept in contact with so many people. And then we'll get on to the next project we're working on here in a minute. But then I did go on a second set a year later. I was craving it. Mm-hmm. I was like, I've got to get back on set again. I've got to be back around these amazing. And I always tell Christine, I want to be behind the camera, not in front of it. This kind of makes me a little uncomfortable, but she's been getting me out of my comfort zone. Like so
shoving her off.
You can do it. Shoving me out. No. I love that about you, by the way. But when we were working on Ursula together in the pre-production and doing the budgets and everything, so I realized I had a lot to contribute artistically. And on the movie set of a Christmas movie, I mean, it was a lot of art design. I love that. I'm good at decorating, but that was too much. I'm sorry. That was like a bow everywhere. But anyway, I'm doing all that shaved ice. I'm in a meat coat in a parking lot with a shaved ice machine making snow. When I was told by pre-production there was going to be a snow machine there, and it was a shaved ice machine, and that was my moment of going, why am I here? Why am I doing this? But seeing it all culminate and come to fruition, I don't know, it's like a dopamine adrenaline rush. But for me personally in my life, it I felt like a part of my soul lit up there, and it continues to do it every time we do a project, definitely. And especially the one we're working on now, that one's really, really fulfilling. So, but that first maybe said I was done. I was like, I'm in, I want to do this. I just don't want to kill myself on set. Now, I don't want to do another Christmas movie. I wasn't even trained to I shouldn't have been a lead on there, but I did my best, and thank God there was great people there that supported me and helped me, and Carly, God bless her, when she finally realized, I was like, I don't even know what's going on. She was like, okay, Marsha, see this, every day you're gonna get this sheet and it tells you where to be and what we're gonna be doing. And like, oh, I'm like, well, heck, nobody ever told me that. So yeah.
But that comes to tell you, for those who are interested or trying to get into the industry, honestly, you'll be fine if you give it everything. If you go in, try your best, you're nice to everyone, and give it your best effort, people see that.
That's right.
Yeah. And so it really does not matter if you've never been on set. People recognize passion. People recognize other people who are busting their butts.
The hustle.
Hustlers recognize hustlers. So anybody out there who's like, oh, how did you start? Or how can I how can I start in this? Well, we had somebody approach us yesterday when we were filming of, hey, I want to get started in this industry, So, that's really it, is just figure out how to get on your first film set. You can, volunteer, you can you have a friend of a friend, you also volunteer your time or whatever, and then do your absolute best on it.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's exactly right.
yeah.
That's all you have to do.
And so then Marsha and I worked on both of those sets, and then I made my film, so Ursula, and actually Marshall is an integral part of that film for getting it done. So Marsha came on as an investor for post, which is fantastic. But in the beginning, she also helped me a lot with making sure that the business aspect of the film was in line and that it considered all of the factors.
Right.
And I think that's a huge thing in film, is that filmmakers only care about the art a lot of times, but they forget that film is very much business
About the money.
and it is a product, a final product. So it's like a startup. You got to find the money, the resources to make the final product. Then you figure out how to market that product, or you're not going to be able to make your return on investment. And
Right.
so that was the reality check Marsha would continue to make sure that I considered, because a lot of filmmakers don't just care about the art, and that's okay, but you just have to have somebody like Marsha who reminds you about the realities of raising money. Yeah.
Well, not only that, numbers don't lie. So if the numbers don't work, they just flat do not work. Right. So you can say, oh, we're going to do a $200,000 budget, but then you start running it and you're like, there's no way in hell we're going to make this for 200 grand or whatever the number is. The numbers don't lie. So yeah, I think you need to have a really good business person that's involved in the process, and then someone that understands, like you, all the nuances of filming, and how much it pays to get certain actors, and how much the food costs crafty every day, and all those little details, which I learned some of those baptism by fire once again. But on my second set, I walked in like a boss. I was like, hey, I wasn't there very long on that second one.
Right.
And then I wish I could have gone on Ursula, but I was preoccupied with a lot of things that I couldn't go. But yeah, it's the numbers.
But that's just the first one. There'll be many more you can come on that I will throw you in as production designer.
Oh,
Just
God.
kidding. She'll kill me.
Depends on what it is, but I know more now.
I'll be like, I just won't tell you. It'll just be our thing. I'll just be like, Marsha's everybody welcome. Here's Marsha, our production designer. She'll just be like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
That's how it happened in the meeting that day. We were in the meeting and I was
like, what's a production designer?
What am I supposed to do? And I'm lead? No.
I'm surprised you did such a great job. I literally had no clue.
Really?
Yeah.
You knew.
No, I knew that maybe you weren't as experienced.
Carly knew.
Well, Carly was like, maybe she's just not as experienced, but the fact that you got things done when we needed them, I was like, well, okay, cool. Maybe she has only had a few sets, type thing. Or maybe she's been a production designer for so long, she's so disconnected, from everything.
I can hustle. That's one thing.
So you are a hard worker. So that I'm very impressed. And I always love telling that story, because it was like when Marsha revealed her secret, it was like, it makes sense.
It totally makes sense now.
Wow.
Dots are connecting.
But yeah, I hope. And the great thing is, Marsha reached back out to me one random day with a fantastic idea, and we are now working on. So I want you to tell the story of what happened and why you called me.
So I want to preface this: I'm not an alcoholic, because most of these stories do start with me drinking somewhere.
Same thing.
It's a social thing.
People were like, "What's your inspiration, Ursula?" I was like, "Well, I was sitting in the pool, drunk."
Well, this was post-COVID, and I was still pretty locked down, and because I was running the psychiatry practice, and if I got sick, it was not going to be good. And my friends kept inviting me to this drag show in Bishop Arts District here in Dallas, and for birthday parties and such. And so I finally said, yeah, I'm coming. I'm going to, again, get out of my comfort zone, and I'm going to go. So I went and had so much fun. It was, wow. It was another light up kind of moment. And Ruby was there, and she was the hostess of it. And she was talking about how she was about to transition and male to female transition, and it just sparked in my head. And I immediately asked a waitress, I'm like, hey, is the owner of this place here? And she said, yeah, he's outside. And so I walked outside and I said, introduced myself. And I said, look, I'm here with friends. I have had a little tequila, but this isn't a crazy old lady. It wasn't that bad. I did Uber home, but I Ubered there. So being responsible. Anyway, so I said, hey, I feel very compelled to tell Ruby's story. I just felt it like really in my soul. So, and he goes, oh my God, that's wonderful. We would love for someone to do this because she's an amazing human being. Her journey's incredible. And we need more information about the transgender community. And realize I'm in a psychiatry practice that we see kids, and we were seeing a lot more gender identity issued children that were struggling with their gender identity during that time. And I'm like, okay, this kind of connects together. So on my way, I told all my girlfriends that night, I'm like, y'all just wait, I'm going to do a documentary on her. I'm going to follow Ruby. And they're like, whatever. And here we are a year later. And we're still following her. That's why we're together, is because we've been filming for a few days, and it's been amazing. But I called Christine because I called her and I'm like, hey, I'm a little drunk, but I need you to take this seriously. I want to film a transgender drag queen. I want to film her story, and let's see what this is about. And I feel I could tell when I told her, I feel very moved to do this. You said, if you're feeling moved to do it, we're doing it. Yeah. And 3 weeks later, we started filming.
Yeah. That's how fast it was.
I mean, we got on it, and it was this time last year. Yeah. It was in February.
Yeah. It's crazy. While you were talking, I was trying to put my timeline together to be like, what was I doing then? I had not moved yet from Texas. I was in Shreveport. I was at that point, I believe I made the decision to go to Los Angeles, to move there. And I think the reason why I was in Dallas was because it was on the way to Austin for another gig or whatever it was. It was like worked out perfectly, where it was just a hop over to Dallas and then hop over to I think Austin, to my next gig. So I think what it was I was coming from Shreveport or something. And you can tell when somebody is truly inspired. And what I love about Marsha is that she's a person who, when she says something, she means it. So I knew that when she was like, I really want to do this, I knew it wasn't like I want to do this today and then like I forget about it in a few hours type thing. Like it was I'm committed to do this if you believe that this is something worthwhile pursuing. And when she mentioned, transgender rights and having the mental health aspect with it and everything, I was like, yeah, like who knows where it will go? We don't know. Maybe we'll do film festivals. Maybe we'll just put it on YouTube. But what we've noticed is being in the process is continue to lead us down a rabbit hole and grow bigger and bigger, because people are so excited to finally have a platform and a voice.
Yeah, a voice.
Everybody who has thanked us about us giving the time to give them that platform. And we're like, no, like, thank you for like being vulnerable and like, like for us, being intrusive into your life and like pointing a camera at you when you're changing in the back, like we just feel hope that with the project, it will provide comfort for anybody who is in that process of or questioning anything, or it's a conversation starter, for people who don't understand that community, and maybe understanding the day-to-day struggles and everything about the community will open up the conversation for people to reconsider their beliefs and stuff. And because sometimes I think that the reason why people are so against certain things is lack of knowledge. It's fear. Right? Fear of the unknown. So I mean, What was your background growing up? Were you always so open?
No, I was, I was raised in a very difficult environment. I was abused significantly, neglected significantly, and had no voice. And I mean, that's another thing about the movie industry, I believe, and documentaries is and I think that's what draws me to Ruby and this story is because I finally found my voice. And I want others to have their voice. So, oh, I'm going to get Terry, but that's the truth. I mean, I love helping people find their voice, and this section of people want their voice. Now, it's interesting because we've interviewed people this weekend that are like, my family doesn't know I'm transitioning yet. So they're finding their voice, but I think that's what they love about what we're doing is that we're giving them a voice and a platform to be heard and understood. But no, I was, as a child, I was pretty much in my generation. I'm 56. So my generation is you should be seen, not heard. Right. And as a female, you're an object. I moved out at 17 and got the hell out of there and put myself through college. I don't even know. I always say this. How did I get an apartment at 17? But I did. And I just got it rolling. I got my life rolling and I wanted to do something with my life. And I didn't want to be a victim of my circumstance anymore. And as a child, I would even be like, why is this happening? I don't know. Why are these people that are supposed to love me treating me so poorly? So I've really been, I'm an advocate. I really advocate for people who are in positions that they're being powered over by someone else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make
definitely.
sense?
Yeah, it makes lots of sense.
And I love to fight for people. I'm a fighter. So I'm going to fight for you. I sometimes should fight for myself a little more, but I will fight for others. And there was that, I think that was what was coming through to me for Ruby when I saw her and heard her story. She was fighting to get her voice. And part of that was this transition process to really be who she felt she was. But no, I've worked a lot of years to pull myself out of that mentality of someone always being in a one-up position over me and allowing that. Yeah. So,
I think a beautiful thing that we've experienced together is I think with film, the process can be so cathartic and such even a major learning experience as well, while you other people's journeys through the documentary process or like when I'm writing, that's when I process a lot of my trauma and that's why I write. And so I can see while we're interviewing, I'm always side-eyeing Marsha and being like, see, I'm like, see what she's saying? Yeah.
See, you need to do that, Marsha. I told you that last night.
But I that's, I think, the beauty of film. And I'm hoping that through yourself, through seeing the people that you're giving a voice or giving a platform to have their voice, and so, and it's inspiring as it is, and as impactful. We hope that we'll be able to just capture this footage and show it to the world. It's a learning experience for ourselves as well, and I think that's the beauty of film is that you're giving and getting just as much, and you're giving this platform, but like people who are giving their time are also getting, so it's this like mutual love fest. It's lovely. So
and what I'm realizing now, because now we're filming Ruby. So last year we filmed Ruby pre-surgery and now we're filming her post. The issues that the transgender community, their day-to-day is humanity. It's not just them. I mean, a lot of if you get it to the baseline fundamental issue, we're all having the same issues. Theirs are manifesting differently. And obviously they're a much more vulnerable group of people with a lot more hate out there that they have to combat. I'm not saying that, but But, I was talking to a couple of the girls the other night and they were like, I don't want to go to the grocery store without my makeup. And I'm like, girl, we all have that problem. And the way that men treat them and all of those things. I mean, we all have the same aspects. The difference with them is for me and for us. And I think one beautiful part that we've covered before I retired was with my previous partner on the mental health aspect, because he's a psychiatrist, and I'm really looking forward to getting that information out there and especially for parents with children that are questioning, because the mental health aspect, I mean, I suffer from mental health issues as well from the trauma of my past. And how it manifests itself in my marriage and my relationships with people. They're suffering the same trauma because of their past and the things that occurred and happened to them as well. So I'm really excited about that mental health piece that we're going to be able to tie in to this beautiful journey of realization, actualization, the voice being heard, and it's like the blossoming of this person becoming who they really are.
Yeah. I think you hit it on the nail where art is universal and it is exploring our humanity, right? And so I forgot who said this, maybe it was you two or whatever, but that, they're performing to these big arenas and like, look, everybody's united by this music. It's the same thing with art, with movies and stuff, having a voice, having a message, and people being able to explore our humanity through another character, through another person, and remind us that we aren't alone in a lot of these universal struggles that everyone deals with. We are all human and we are all not perfect, and we're all learning about who we are and learning about other people as well. So this is a great transition for the fact that your production company, Beautifully Broken, is seeking to do projects of with good messaging or purpose driven. Yeah, tell me more about that.
Well, I mean, you were with me when I think what name was. You were with me. Yeah. Because I had a therapist always tell me, Marsha, you're beautifully broken, perfectly imperfect. We are all beautifully broken, perfectly imperfect people. And we've got to quit beating the crap out of ourselves all the time for not meeting some standards set by
who knows what.
Yeah. I'm not going to get in it but we know who said it. We know who set the standard. So, and it's right. And I just want to make movies like, I don't want to make a career out of this because I'm later in life and I've already had a couple of careers. I just want to do things that impact people that are, from the heart, purpose driven. And so that, because I was alone when I was a child, no one came and saved me. No one took me out of that. And I had to suffer through until I got myself out. Well, I believe my higher power got me out. But, so I want to put, even Ursula was about women power. I mean, it's the same concept. So I want to produce things that are going to have impact.
Yes.
And not just, I want to be the change or a part. I don't want to be the change, but I want to be part of the change, or at least invoke it to where someone or anyone doesn't, even if it's one person, I think we talked about, even if it's one person that does not feel alone in the world anymore, because they know that there's someone else out there that's feels in it too. It's like, it's okay not to be okay, and then have a voice and feel like there's someone else out there that's going through the same thing that they've gone through. Yeah. So that's, with Ruby, it's still the same concept. We're trying to get to that community of people that they feel very alone, and they do isolate as a group, but they're very much they're like a tribe. They're such a beautiful community. I mean, what were we saying last night? I'm sorry, I'm a little tired, but just how much they help one another. Yeah. Remember that?
Yes.
Talk about that.
Yeah, I was backstage. So yesterday, to give some context, I've been here this week. Both of us have been in post editing what we shot last year and prior to the surgery, and we've been here filming post-surgery content, which is pretty amazing. And yesterday there was a show at the Havana Grill here in Dallas, which is Dallas, Texas, right? In Dallas, Texas. And it was really cool for me. I was behind stage, and I could tell there was a difference between when I shot them this time performing and the first time I shot them as well. You can feel already a transition. One, it's incredible when you build a bond with your subjects. And so the first time when I filmed them backstage, they were all kind of like, who are you? Like, I'm not sure. Like, do you really give a shit about us type thing? This time around, they're like, yeah, film away, whatever you want, type thing. Yeah. Here you go. Yeah. People are putting on boobs. It's great. Yeah. I was like, wow. I was like, can I film this? They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, great. Yeah. I'm like,
I might have seen some things getting touched.
Yeah, it was great.
It was awesome.
Yeah. And to see your subjects be so vulnerable with you is an incredible experience in itself, right? And so I'm there and I'm filming Ruby getting dressed, and she's starting off by herself because everybody else is getting ready. But as they one by one finish, they are all coming together as a unit, helping her and helping each other get ready because the show is about to start. And it's such a beautiful symbolism of the community itself, and how that's how they've been able to triumph and persevere and continue to deal with day-to-day struggles and try to survive and endure and navigate and change. I say survive and endure because I'm watching The Last of Us, and that's their motto, and I love it so much. Anyway, but I see them, they're like, one person's gloves and for Ruby, and they're like making sure it's right, not inside out, and like helping her with them because she's got these long nails and it's hard to do it. And another person at the same time is clipping her garter belt, and then the two of them are putting her shoes on that are like this tall. Yeah, so big. And meanwhile she's like also emceeing, like telling everybody, all right guys, in a few more minutes we're about to start the show. And then somebody from the group takes over because she has no hands because she's trying to put on gloves. And it's a beautiful process to see that, and to hear so much about drag and the art of drag and how much they feel alive on the stage, and then getting to see them come alive on the stage is amazing. You see the transformation in the back. They come in sweats, and half makeup done, hair not like tied up because they usually wear wigs, and they're all like shooting the shit, talking, making fun of each other and stuff like that. And it's just you feel like you're being let in on a secret almost kind of thing, because it's not an experience that you can't just go backstage and just start. No. It's a very personal experience.
It's very private. I realized that too, because the first time when we filmed, mind you, they were in a teeny tiny little bathroom. Yeah. Oh my gosh, they didn't want us back there. And I got that. And coming from psychiatry in that industry, documentaries are intrusive. And she's like, oh, we're going to go back there. And I'm like, oh, don't go back there. But they don't want us back there. But I'm learning to be more intrusive.
They don't know yet that they want us back there.
Seems to know what everybody else doesn't know yet that they want. But anyway, but this time they were so glad to see us back, and they welcomed us in. And then that filming, we did some filming Friday night with 3 of the drag queens outside, freezing, by the way. Welcome. If you want to film, get ready to be in some elements. But it was so cold. It's crazy. But they really opened up and let us in. And I don't know, that connection's there now with them. And the trust, it's just a special. I wish because outside of this, I don't really have that. Do you?
I'm lucky. I have really good friends.
I mean, I have great friends, but that community.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
I mean, I guess the closest I can think of, I have two communities that I love very much. My business school community, because I built myself through business school. That's when I really discovered, I already knew going into business school what I wanted to come out as. And so I was building who I am. And I have a very strong group of friends, part of business school, that are very supportive. And then my film community, Film Fam. So when I was building Moth to Flame, I have a group of people that've gone with me from when I knew nothing to when I still know nothing, less know nothing, and continue to be supportive and loyal in there and everything. So that kind of community. Yeah.
I have that to a degree. It's just, I don't know, theirs is at a different level. You know, it's a, I don't know, it's a lot more intimate to a degree. And and they were talking about, in the beginning, they didn't like each other so much, some of them, because there's jealousies and all of that, but they all overcome it because they all have each other's backs, and they are just safe. They're not welcomed. We interviewed some last year that he wanted to come and brag with you, and he didn't, because he said on his way home at night he would get beat up in the alley walking to his apartment, and he was just a little concerned for his safety, so he didn't come the way he wanted to be and be dressed the way he wanted to dress. So if we can give just shine a little light out there so more people can them as humans, as people, who they really are and what this is really about. And it's about people being who they are. And shine a little light on that. I think it's a beautiful thing. I mean, that's how the world's evolved to where it is now, because of, we learned, do better, be better, better, be better. Right. So that's,
yeah. So this journey has been fun. Each time we film, we learn something new. We get that much closer with our subject. And that's why documentaries take forever. So Marsha is learning this now. Yeah. And so if anybody out there is interested in documentaries, just literally pick up a camera and just find a subject that you are passionate about, or somebody that you feel like needs that platform, and just start filming. But yeah, it's amazing to feel and experience that growth and vulnerability with complete strangers that are now not strangers. Yeah, it was cool. It was they were all like, oh yeah, remember we, like, why, like, basically they were like, why haven't you reached out to us earlier, type thing. And it was, we had to explain that I actually don't live in the South anymore. I'm in Los Angeles, and we're kind of are doing this when we both have time and stuff like that. But the great thing is now Marsha is going to be a professional editor, her new career shift. She doesn't know it yet. I'm grooming her for it slowly. And so we are in the post part of the production of the story. And it's fun. It's fun to see you light up and realize the story connection stuff. But telling stories is the best. I love telling stories.
I like the fact that the story in documentaries, it tells itself. I mean, once you start getting it in the can and on film, and then you start going back through the editing, it starts being born, and it tells, you see the connections and you see the dots, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember Dr. Shaw said that. And then when we were filming the other night, it was like, okay, yeah, we had just talked about this, or we'd talked about that. We can tie it back to the last time. And the story, it creates itself, and the art becomes the art. It's just beautiful to see it. Now, editing is hard. I mean, she makes it look like I got a lot to learn, but I love learning, and I love getting in the details. And so and it is a process. But it's a good process, and it does take time, but I don't know. I like the fact that it takes time. I on set for 28 days or 18 days and running like a nut and killing yourself. I'd rather take it this way and really methodically go through.
Yeah, let it breathe.
Let it breathe, and then let them have instances that we can then catch on film. And then I'm going to try my hand in some cinematography now that I'm working with one of Christine's cameras, and my daughter loves it. So we're going to start doing some filming on our own. because she's so busy, which is great. And then editing together. And what's the beauty of that is we can do it remotely. You can be in LA, I can be here, and we can continue to work on the documentary. I can go capture, like if someone comes in town and it's a good interview, then we can go do the interview process, get it in the system. Oh, it's fun.
Yeah. And the best part, I think, too, of filmmaking, besides the actual filmmaking, is that when you do reach the end of the tunnel, it's fun to go back and see how much you've grown since that process and where that path has led you, because none of us can predict the future. We can hope that it's going to be something, but it's not 100% ever, you just never know. Who knew that, like, when we filmed the first time, there would be a freaking like ice storm that one's remember? Yeah. So that like knocked
when
out.
we rented the camera.
Yeah, the first time. Yeah. Big ass ice storm. And then
thank you, Robert Skinner, for driving through the ice to get the camera back on time.
Exactly.
Bad. And I was like, I'm not driving in that.
Yeah. And like, who knew that, this time around that we would be able to get in the Havana? Like, there's so many factors that are beyond your control. And it's both thrilling and exciting, but scary, because I think people want to be in control, and people are scared when they aren't. And it's nice to just kind of like let it go, let it be, and just see where it takes you. And that's the beauty of documentary filmmaking. You have to, there's some planning. You got to set the interviews and plan ahead, but there's so much of it that is also like in the moment, and I think that's what documentaries teach us, is how to be in the moment.
That's life.
Yeah.
So it's a documentary.
Life is a documentary. Life is,
yeah. And the planning part,
allows maybe be in the moment more, but it's a guideline.
Yeah, and I love what we're doing. We're doing it for now, and that is we're just kind of self-doing it, or doing it on our own. We're not putting a budget together necessarily, and we're just seeing where it takes us. Yeah, but this being brilliant that Christine is, we're filming it, and this is to other people out there. We're filming it at a quality that if we really, and I think we have some amazing footage I think we got something here, but it's at the quality level to sell it if we decide to down the road, or put it into film festivals, or
have a mini. I thought like mini series would be cool, like a mini dog series.
It's starting to feel a little episodic. It feels a little.
There's so many journeys you can get. We now introduced like 4 more new characters.
We did.
And essentially, or 3 technically, although there's and they're her dolls, and then the 3 transgender. There's like you can follow. And each of them all have their unique journeys, and they're all connected together by Ruby. However, they all have their own stories to tell, and they're all at different stages of transitioning. And some are not, and some are gay, some are straight, some are. So I don't know. I think it could be very much easily could be episodic.
It could be a small episodic documentary. I mean, it's feeling like that now. Yeah. And who knows what door's going to open next, too. That's the fun of it. We don't know. Someone's going to say something, or know someone, or something's going to come up, and they're going to go, hey, why don't you, this is happening. You guys come film. And next thing you know, another door could open. Yeah. So the story's kind of telling itself.
Agreed.
Which is awesome. I love that.
You need to jump on and ask Ruby about that RuPaul special guest. Yeah. Just be like, hey, is that someone that we could just, capture and see what they say, yada, yada.
Yeah. It's coming up soon, I think. I need to ask her.
Yeah, we should ask her when that is. And now you have the camera. And remember, I'm free on Sundays until I go home in April. So so I'm part of.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah. So part of the reason I'm here in Texas, I love coming back to Texas. You don't know what you left until you've left it. I come back on my
boyfriends, husbands.
I've been coming back being like, wow, gas is 3 something. Oh my God, thank you so much. Yeah, that's like very exciting. And then being able to Buc-ee's and HEB and going to a bar where your tab isn't like $60 because the drinks aren't like $20. It's amazing. Yeah. And then I
traffic.
in traffic, there's not as much as Los Angeles traffic. And yeah, so I love any opportunities to come back to the South to work. And yeah, I'm coming back for yet another Christmas film. A Christmas
I told her,
Texas
don't ask me to go on that set.
film. Cut to Marsha, we need another production designer. Yeah.
I was going to ask you something real quick though on this when you talk to, because you're more in the industry than I am. I'm from Texas, West Texas, and here all my friends are. And when they ask me about the documentary, because I'm a very transparent person, I talk obviously a lot, but I share my life with people because I think it's important to do that again, so people don't feel alone in this world. But have you seen any blowback? I mean, I've been getting some blowback on the content of what we're doing here.
I think I'm lucky to it's always like keep your inner circle really small type thing, and I'm very much that. The people I choose to surround myself and give access to on a day-to-day basis, I'm very picky about. And so that circle is extremely supportive. And because of that, even the surrounding circles around that. So I think I just happen to run in circles that are less conservative,
more accepting.
Yeah, more accepting. And it has to do with like school as well. I went to University of Texas. I'm sure but I feel like when you go to school or when you travel, I've been lucky to be able to travel. You meet people who are more open-minded because they have had the opportunities to meet different people and explore and see that there's more to life than making other people feel bad about their life decisions and beliefs, So I don't know. I've just been lucky about it.
I think part of my journey is going to be opening people's eyes up. So I'm willing to accept the challenge of somebody going, well, saying if they're saying anything negative or whatever they are, that you can tell that they're very uncomfortable with the content of what we're doing. I'm getting to where I have a pretty good way of explaining why we're doing what we're doing and how important it is. How historically important it's been throughout our evolution as people and humanity. And I think I've opened a few eyes, and I don't mind doing that. But I've gotten some interesting people saying things to me, but I'm okay with that now. I'm getting to, especially after this last filming session, I'm like, bring it on.
Yeah, I'm usually the one that's just completely ignorant to what everybody else is thinking. I just do it, and then people are like, "Wow, that's so dark," or "That's so, revolutionary." I'm like, "Oh, I just pointed my camera because I thought it was a good story." Yeah. So, and then I realized, oh wow, this is not typical and stuff like that, and I just don't. It goes over my head,
like standing on the chair.
Yeah. She's just like, what the hell is she doing?
Rolling around on the floor. She got some great footage, by the way. I was like, wow, I'm going to get on the floor more often now. Somebody's going to have to get me back up. But
yeah, you should see me when I film. I just when I film and I see the shot, like I forget what's proper or whatever. It just all goes out the door. I'm like, all right, got to get the shot. I'm getting on the chair. And then I'm like, oh, I got to get in the shot. I don't want to get in Marsha's shot. So I'm just a slide across on the floor.
I slid in my shot a few times. And then she's like, if they tell us no, we can't film there, we're going anyway. And I'm like, wait a minute. No, if they say no, I'm a rule follower. And she's like, nope, we're going. And we're going to be like, oh, sorry, but we're here.
I've always been the like ask for forgiveness type of person. Good girl, nothing risk taking. There's something about risk taking, and rules are meant to be guidelines, in my opinion. I mean, unless it's for safety. Every time, when it's safety, yes, follow the rules. Don't run red lights if you can. Not if you can, but please don't. But like things like that. But don't film here. I think I always feel like people, especially this community, rightfully so, are just scared of people misrepresenting them and utilizing their story for bad, and so I respect that. I respect that they're going to be a little suspicious, about what we're doing, but it's always like, Marsha, I pushed you off the cliff and then you're really happy. Yeah. She's like, you're
I
right.
do seem to always have a parachute. No, I do. No, you're definitely pushing me out of my comfort zone, which is good. Doing this pushed me out of my comfort zone. I've enjoyed this, and I look forward to you pushing me off more cliffs, I guess. As long as you're there to help me if I fall.
I think that's the biggest thing. And we'll take it for a landing. But I think the thing is, like, you do need to, filmmaking is about going out of your comfort zone. I really think a lot of art is about that, is about going to a place that you never thought you would go to film, and then being surprised by it.
Right.
It's you know, working with people that you never probably would have crossed paths. Marsha and I
would have never
probably wouldn't in real life. There's no reason for our circles to
have ever crossed.
Yeah. And it did, and it was beautiful, and it was in such a innocent and real way, you know. I am a big support of this. People are always like, oh, how did you raise money? How did you do this and stuff? And I'm like, you know what? I feel like if you go through life wondering what people can give you, I think you're going to develop a circle of friends that are transactional. And I don't really believe in that. I believe in connecting on a purpose of some sort. And Marsha and I remember when we connected, it was like crafty. It was cold as fuck outside. Was it that? Yeah. We were outside eating or something. And I was like, oh yeah, I actually don't AD all the time. I am actually a director. I'm trying to make this film about mental health for first responders. Yeah. And then you were like, oh, I'm in mental health. I'm like, that's crazy. I was like, why aren't you a production designer? But then we just chatted, and then you were like, I want to read the script. I'm like, cool, and I sent her the script. She's like, I really like this. By the way, if you didn't know, I'm actually an investor. I'm like, what? Type thing. I actually had no clue at that point still. Because you didn't know, because like, I don't think it was an open. Also,
It was crazy.
Things go over my head a lot. I mean, I once did.
You're like,
yeah, I'm extremely like
assholes and elbows.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm very focused on what I'm doing. To the point where so that I can do what I'm doing well, type thing. And so, yeah, many things go over my head. I once did AD'd a film where for a good week and a half, I didn't know that our director was some huge movie star. No clue. Carly was the one who was like, look, and I'm like, oh God, I asked him if he acted. Yeah. Yeah. He's like, Sung Kang is like in all the Fast and the Furious.
Oh no, really?
Yeah, and it was like highest grossing Asian actor. I'm like, great. I was just like, hey, what's up? What do you do? Yeah, so
well, that's like me when y'all are like, when we're doing scripts and recommending actors, and I'm like, I'm Googling. I don't know who people are, because I'm just not. I don't follow it that close. I'm more about this tether of a connection that. And what I love about us is we won't see each other for a year, and it's as though it was a day.
Yeah, I even like on yesterday on set had a Marsha moment where she was on my phone and I was looking for my phone, and I was like, oh, I lost my phone. Where is it? She's on my phone and she's like, where is it? Yeah, and I'm like, she's like, oh, I have it. I'm like, oh my God.
I could have said it better.
Okay.
But anyway, I was looking at Burning Man photos, and she had just handed me her, because she's giving me crap all the time for being old and needing glasses. And I don't remember 5 minutes later what I'm doing. And we were just having a conversation, making fun of, I'll be walking around like talking on my phone, looking for my phone. Anyway,
you never do that.
Once you're over 50, you'll know what I'm talking about. So yesterday she handed me her phone, and I'm looking through Burning Man photos, and she's like, "Where's my phone?" And I'm like, I don't know where. I'm like, ha ha ha. You did it. And I'm never going to let you live this down, because she really gives me crap a lot, y'all. I'm just saying.
Yeah. And then when we got into the car, we both had a big sigh, and we were like, ooh,
at the same exact same
but
time.
it was what we said after that, which is like not that, like both of us just went ooh, or at the same freak, literally.
I mean, nanosecond.
Not at the same time. We just looked at each other being like, who are you? Are you me? Am I you? Yeah.
Are we becoming one? We've been together. It's time for you to go.
Oh God.
You need to go. No.
So
That's how in sync we are. And it's a good thing because we're very synergistic, like your amazing strengths. I've got strengths that complement yours. You have them that definitely help me gain in strength. I'm learning new things, which at my age is a big deal.
Yeah.
And to actually discover, this is one thing, to discover something that you love so much at my age is like such a gift. You know what I mean? And I even said that on the set of the first movie, because I fell in love hard on that set. I fell in love with the industry and the people. And I still have some amazing relationships from that first movie. And I love it.
Yeah. I love filmmaking as well. So anybody out there, keep hustling.
Yep.
Work. And no matter what gig you do it to the best of your ability. Approach people not with what they can provide you, but what value can give them. And if you do it that way, down the line, when you need help, people are going to be lining up to help you.
And take the risk.
Take the risk. That's the biggest thing. One thing that we heard in our interview that we both really connected with Ruby, when I asked her, do you have any regrets transitioning? And the thing she said, like, almost made all of us cry, was my one regret was I didn't do it sooner. And I think that goes with a lot of things in life. Is it is scary taking a risk. It is scary, jumping and wondering whether or not you'll have a parachute or going to fall down flat or whatever. But if you don't take that risk, you'll never know, and you'll regret it. So
that's right.
Yeah. So okay, so that's been the Get Reelisms podcast, everyone. I don't have a book with me, but if if you are in the industry, wanting to be in the industry, or interested in how the industry works itself, I created Get Reelisms with two of my buddies in the film industry because we wanted film to be approachable. We wanted it to be something where anybody who had interest in telling stories could buy a book and learn some terms and be fascinated and go on set and be fine, and on top of that, we're building a academy right now. It's slow because I'm doing a lot of the work, all of the work. So, and my hope is that it will provide education and mentorship to people who are wanting to excel in their departments. So, if you want to learn more about our book, our podcast, you can go to getreelisms.com. And hopefully next week, my co-host Adam will be back. But if not, it's probably because we're working. So, so tune in, and thank you so much,
Thanks
Marsha.
for having me. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your friendship.
Thank you.
And I'm so happy that we get to work together there's nothing better feeling out there than being able to work on a passion in an industry that you love, with your passion, with somebody that you love.
Yes.
As much.
And thanks for pushing me off the cliff.
Yes. I don't want to go. Yes, you do.
No. Yeah. No, thank you so much.
Yes.
Love you.
Love you too.